Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Jim Rohn, my friends, we ask you to practice a discipline every day the market is open. That is no more than 5 days a week, many weeks less than that. And 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day following the charts with us, that's all you need to do. Let's jump into these charts. We see stocks and bonds down, gold and Bitcoin up. How is this week going? We have the weekly candle heading down, price below that weekly trend line, just above that 2-day trend line. This is on the weekly chart. Price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator heading down, red down candle. Let's look at that 2-day chart. Now, it was down a little bit for the day, but these are Heiken Ashi candlesticks, first day of the latest 2-day candle. We see the price percent oscillators flat, derivative oscillator losing downward momentum, pushed up on during the course of the day, pushed up on the weekly trend line. So be cognizant of that, pushed through the 2-day trend line that had been rather strong. That's telling you something. Let's look at the half day. You can see where things had bumped up on Thursday afternoon, and then, Thursday afternoon, and matched it about the same as it did in the morning, and then Friday just sort of slowing down and rocking over. You can see that in the intraday movement. Now, let's go from the S&P 500 to the NASDAQ 100, down 0.50% for the day, hitting a lower low for the week. Price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator heading down on the weekly. The 2-day shows us where we had a green spinning top before, and then we have drawing a green open box candle, first day of the latest 2-day candle. Price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator losing some downward momentum, just trying to push through that 2-day trend line. We look at the half-day chart. We can see again where things boomed up on Thursday morning, about the same on Thursday afternoon, very similar to what you saw on that S&P chart, and then devolving, rolling over right down that 2-day trend line on the half-day chart. Price percent oscillator still positive, derivative oscillator losing a little bit of momentum at the end of the day. That's where we are on stocks. Now again, it was down days on stocks, down weeks. Weekly chart still looking good. Pay attention to some weakening in the 2-day. If you jumped into either the weekly vertical crossover on the Qs or you jumped into the 2-day recross on the S&P. Now let's jump, and those happened a while back, as you can tell from the charts. Now let's move on to stocks. Stocks down for the day, 0.70%. That's nice because we had a weekly vertical crossover last week, and it's done quite well for you so far. Looking quite nice. Price well below the weekly and the 2-day trend line there on the weekly chart. We look at the 2-day, and again, things just moving down. 7 days in a row. Price percent oscillator, derivative oscillator moving down. That weekly vertical crossover has done pretty well for you. The last 2 days, just solid down movement. Price percent oscillator and the derivative oscillator heading down on that half-day chart. And lastly, folks, as far as our 4 big charts go, before we get to Bitcoin, we come to gold, up 0.04%. On the weekly chart, we have a green spinning top for the week. Price percent oscillator still going down. Derivative oscillator slow down in that down movement. Lots of up movement as far as the candlestick's wick shows us. Let's move on from the weekly to the 2-day. What we see in the 2-day is not a crossover yet. That price percent oscillator is continuing to move up. Derivative oscillator continuing to lose downward momentum. We have 7 days of up movement. So again, we'll keep watching and seeing as the week starts if that 2-day starts heading up on us, giving us a possibility to go long in gold if it crosses and pulls that weekly at some point over with it. Let's look at the half day, see where gold popped up in the morning and then lost most of that by the afternoon, by the close of the market. Price percent oscillator flat, derivative oscillator looks like it went a little negative at the end of the day. Now we move from our big 4 to Bitcoin, up 1.20%. Up week for Bitcoin was crossing over. If you remember last week at the weakest, It was trying to cross over going down and then pulled away. Price percent oscillator heading up away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator looks like it's still devolving a touch. How about what Bitcoin did on the 2-day chart as it loads up very slowly? Remember, we had that 2-day recross. That occurred when? Well, that occurred at the close of things on Thursday. And what did we see happen? Well, we of course see things up for the day 1.20% according to our chart. And again, we'll continue to watch. Bitcoin got a ways to go before it gets up to the highest high. But again, Bitcoin heading up some for the day. As we look at that half day, we can see where things had bumped up earlier in the week on Wednesday, sort of sideways and down on Thursday, and then bumping up again on Friday. That price percent oscillator is about flat. Derivative oscillator on this half-day chart is positive, but heading down. That's where we are. If you don't have our book, we'd love to get a copy. You follow the link in the show notes. You can sure buy that. And we appreciate all of our Patreon supporters. God bless you guys. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.